Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2015 Chevrolet Sonic, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster FuseMaster bypass switch. So you're going to have a total of 5 main components needed to flat tow your Sonic down the road. First one's going to be your base plate, and that's going to provide us with a solid and reliable connection point. That way we can hook up our tow bar to. That's going to be the second component. That's going to be that physical link that connects the front of your Sonic to the back of your motorhome. The third main component is going to be safety cables. And these are going to be there in the event of an unlikely disconnect. They're going to keep everything linked together. Fourth main component is going to be your tow bar wiring. And this is going to transfer the lighting functions from the back of your motorhome to the back of your Chevy, keeping you safe and legal. And last but not least, we have a braking system. That's the fifth component. What that's going to do is apply the brakes in your Sonic. Whenever you apply the brakes in your motorhome, that's just going to help bring you to a more predictable and safe stop. So whenever it comes to flat towing, let's face it, there is a few things that you really have to pay attention to, make sure you're hooked up correctly, and a lot of things to remember. So anything you can do to kind of streamline and simplify that process is definitely worth looking into. And that's exactly what this FuseMaster is going to do. It's just going to help eliminate one more step that would otherwise be a little more time consuming and tedious. So whenever you flat tow your Sonic, it is going to require you to remove a fuse while you're pulling it behind your motorhome. And then once you're done flat towing, you'd have to put that fuse back. So not only would you have to pull this panel off, get your pliers out, reach in there, pull that fuse, and remember to put it back every time. That's just kind of something that I personally wouldn't want to have to deal with. So as opposed to that, you can actually hook up the switch here. And this is really easy to understand and use. I mean, it don't really get much more simple. Whenever you're ready to drive your car like you normally would, you have the switch in the on position, or this drive position up here. And whenever you're ready to flat tow it behind your motorhome, all you're going to have to do is push it down into the tow mode. That's all there is to it. So much easier and definitely saves a whole lot of time. So at the end of the day, something small but really effective. It makes your life that much easier whenever you're trying to set up your flat tow and go out and enjoy yourself. Now, as far as the installation goes, believe it or not, it's really not too bad. Everything's pretty easy to get to. So you're just going to have to remove a fuse, essentially plug our FuseMaster in, drill a small hole here in the fuse panel, and mount up your switch. So shouldn't really give you too many issues or take you a whole lot of time. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and hook it up together now. So to begin our installation, we're going to be here in the driver's seat, more or less. And what we need to do is locate the correct fuse that we need to pull. Here's our panel right there. So go ahead and remove that. And our fuse block is located just inside here under the dash. So the fuse that we're looking for is at the very top left-hand side. It's a 2 amp fuse, gray in color. That'll be for the DLIS system. So we need to remove that fuse. So if you grab a pair of needle nose, usually makes it a little easier. Go ahead and pull that out. At this point, we can grab our FuseMaster. And if you look here, we're going to have 2 terminals connecting the wiring to the back of the switch. We do need to remove these. Just to be on the safe side, I like to mark them. That way we know we can put them back in the original position. So I just took a yellow paint marker and put a dot there and one on the switch. That way we know that one goes there. But with that said, can pull these off. They are kind of tight, so be careful when you're removing these. And the reason for this is we need to mount up the switch to the panel. So we have to have this off so we can do that. So once our switch is removed, we can take off this jam nut. And what I'm going to do is take our panel that we removed. I'm going to find a good spot for our switch. I'm going to drill a hole, pass the switch through, and reinstall the jam nut. So I'm going to go with this top left side here to mount up our switch. I put a little mark there, and I'm just going to use a step drill bit. That way I can get it to where I think it's large enough, and then check it and keep opening it up more if we need to. This is plastic, so it does drill out pretty easily. So that's about the perfect size there. What I'm going to do is just kind of come back and clean up some of these loose shavings. So here's how the switch turned out. You can see I just put that jam nut on there and got it about finger tight. That's usually good enough. With that said, you can go ahead and set this to the side for now. We're going to prepare our wiring. What I found in the past, as opposed to just plugging these directly into the old fuse spot, I found if we connect this to it, it makes it a lot more secure and a little more reliable. So in order to do that, we're going to use these included spade terminals. I like to put these on first. And then these will plug into there. These might be a little too thick, so you might have to take a pair of pliers and just kind of thin them out a little bit. That way they'll fit in there easy. Get it all the way down, that way it fits in there good. That'll slide over, and then we can crimp it down. Looks like I might have to pull this one off. We might have to do these one at a time here, but that's okay. That way I can get my crimps in there. So I'll just do the same thing for this one as well. So I got this all set up. Now we can go ahead and plug these back into our switch. So now back here at our fuse panel, I went ahead and plugged our FuseMaster into that fuse slot where we originally removed that 2-amp fuse. So it just plugs right in like a normal fuse would. So there's the fuse holder. We're going to take our original fuse, plug that on in, take our cover, make sure we get that in place, and then we can simply just reinstall our panel here. So now we need to test our switch, not only to make sure it's working, but also to find the correct position. That way we can put our drive and tow stickers on, which I've done here. Now, with this circuit that we added our FuseMaster to, unfortunately you can't test it per the usual. A lot of times the circuit that you control are lights or something on your dash, so you can turn the key forward, hit the button, and actually see it working. Well, this circuit is almost a voltage regulator circuit, or keeps an eye on the voltage that goes to your body control module. So you really can't see it working unless you test it, and that's super easy to test. All you're going to have to do, keep the key out of the ignition. Don't need to be in there at all. And if we come to the back of the switch, you can grab a test light or a voltmeter or something like that. You can touch each terminal. So this terminal here has no power. This one does. So we know that the power is not coming back. So we got power here. We know it's not coming up through the switch and back into the fuse panel. So we know that can be the towed position or off position. So that's how I labeled our switch. However, when we put it in that drive position, we want everything to be on and working. So not only do we have power on that bottom one, but now we have power on the top one as well. So we know the voltage is coming out through the fuse panel, through our switch, and back in like it should be. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster FuseMaster bypass switch on our 2015 Chevy Sonic.